This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the new Full Battle Rattle studios.
I think you are what keeps me going, keeps so many of us going. Your love of country keeps us going. Thank you so much.
An outsider taking on the establishment, not afraid to call out both sides of the aisle, fighting back with honesty, conservatism, and common sense. Sounds like Sarah Palin, even Donald Trump. But it's Amy Kremer, the Tea Party champion, who we know for getting others elected. Now, she's the candidate running in a special congressional race in Georgia. Today, Amy Kremer joins us to discuss her run in the Peach State. Plus, we'll have the latest national and Alaska headlines and Sarah Palin news. We'll visit the Crow's Nest with Tanya Crow in California. Also from the Golden State, Kelly Carlson is on target. And a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert coming up from Texas. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Full Battle Rattle. Full Battle Rattle, helping veterans suffering from combat-related disabilities through the healing power of music. Learn more at facebook.com/fullbattlerattle.abq. Amy Kremer has been a friend of this program for years, and we've watched her help get Tea Party conservatives elected across the country. Now, she's running for Tom Price's open seat in the great state of Georgia. And today, we'll take a look at this important race with Amy. And right now, we do welcome Amy Kremer to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Amy, welcome back to the program. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
So great to talk to you again. And you know, we've talked to you for so many years and have seen you for so many years helping get others elected. And now you are running for office instead. So let's tell everybody how this all came about, administration appointment, leaving this special election in Georgia. And why is Amy Kremer in the race?
Well, Sean Hannity said he thinks I'm crazy yesterday. But no, he actually endorsed me. But no, you know, I have been in this fight for the past 8 or 9 years as one of the founders of the modern-day Tea Party movement, and I really focused on electing other conservatives. And as I was doing that, I was encouraging regular, everyday, average people to step outside of their safe zone, their comfort zone, and put themselves out there and run for office, because I believe we need citizen legislators. We certainly don't need any more lobbyists or lawyers in Washington. So when Tom Price's seat came open because he was appointed HHS secretary, you know, I've been on the front lines fighting Obamacare with Tom Price before it was even called Obamacare. And so when that seat came open and it was a short race, a special election, how can I go out and encourage others to do something if I'm not willing to do it myself? And so I've carried the values of the 6th District across the country with me as I traveled from coast to coast. And I'd like to represent the people of the 6th District in Congress now.
Well, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people like you, Amy, who have done the outside work and helped others get elected, a lot of times we do sit back and say, hey, wait a minute, they'd be the most qualified because really you've been on top of every issue for much longer before the Tea Party movement, but certainly since, and out there, you know, keeping an eye on everything and keeping people in check, Democrat or Republican. And now with our president looking to drain the swamp, I mean, you're someone who'd get in there and wouldn't be afraid of anybody from either side. You would fight for the American people.
Absolutely. I would like to. Mike Lee is a great. I think he's a model senator, model legislator. He goes home every weekend. He connects with the people in his district. Dave Bratt is one of the most accessible members of Congress. I want to be that way. I am very laid back and one of the people, and so. You know, I want to be here and represent the people. We're so disconnected. That's the problem, is we elect people and they go up there and you become a product of your environment. So if you are spending all of your time in Washington, D.C., and you're buying a condo or buying a house, and then you're on the cocktail circuit and the party and everything, I mean, how do you represent the people that are back home in your district? I don't think you can if you're living in Washington, D.C., So that's what I want to be. I want to be a citizen legislator, not just to represent them, but to partner with them, because I think that we need a lot of change in Washington, and working together. It will be a slow process, but working together, we can do it. And I mean, Kevin, I'm going to say this too, that I was a Trump supporter from early on, day one, but I am not going to be a yes woman or yes man for Donald Trump. I am going to represent the people of the 6th District. Yes, I hope that what President Trump is doing, I can support, and that we will work together on things. But at the end of the day, I will represent the people of the 6th District. And I'll tell you right now, not only would I have voted no, I would have voted hell no on that health care bill.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of conservatives feel the same way and are happy and hoping that it will, expose some on the Republican side and also get us a better situation healthcare-wise down the road. And we appreciate those comments. Let me ask you this. Governor Palin recently on her new website and also through social media has talked about the Freedom Caucus, what's happening there, and your stance as far as the House Freedom Caucus.
So if I am elected, I would absolutely love to join the House Freedom Caucus. They are not, people are blaming the healthcare bill not passing on the Freedom Caucus. That is a bunch of malarkey. Paul Ryan did not do his job and bring his caucus along with him when he crafted the legislation. Not only did the Freedom Caucus not support it, but moderates didn't support it. It's Paul Ryan's responsibility that it failed. I fully believe that. But the people in the Freedom Caucus, Raul Labrador, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, those are people I've worked with for years. Mark Meadows, I helped elect him back in 2012. And then in 2013, that was his first election. Then in 2013, I remember being in Denver, Colorado, and I got a call from him. And it was that summer when we were doing the Defund Obamacare effort with Senators Cruz and Lee. And Mark Meadows called me, and he said leadership was coming after him. They were pushing him. And I knew they were because Corey Gardner was supposed to show up at an event in Denver with me, and he did not. And it was about Defund Obamacare. So I got on an airplane, and I went to North Carolina, and I stood with Mark Meadows proudly and said he was doing the right thing, that's what the people elected him to do, and I supported him. So, we are so good at beating these people up when they don't do what we want them to do. We're not so good at praising them when they do the things we want them to do. I think we need to see more of that. But they are standing on the right side. This is the thing here is Paul Ryan and the others are wrong on this because they campaigned to repeal and replace Obamacare. So did the Freedom Caucus. Freedom Caucus is trying to do it. Paul Ryan's trying to pass Obamacare with a tickle or Obamacare light. Mm-hmm. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, very well said. And you're right about, it's almost like a punter or an offensive lineman. We call them out when there's something wrong, and when they're doing their job, no one's saying a word, and other people are getting away with the, hand in the cookie jar again and again with an R next to their name. Anyone else in the race who is saying they would join the House Freedom Caucus, or is it just Amy Kremer?
Actually, there are 18 candidates, 5 Dems, 2 independents, and 11 Republicans. I'm the only one that has said I will join the Freedom Caucus. And furthermore, I'm not going to hold that against anybody. I would like to see them there, but I know that these people are establishment. But what's worse to me is we did a candidate forum last Wednesday, and 4 of the top 5 said they would have all voted for the bill. And that just is unbelievable to me because that bill did not lower premiums, lower deductibles, lower the cost of prescription drug prices. I mean, why would you, and it wasn't going to get to phase 2 or 3, why would you have voted for that bill? I mean, do they not understand? Are they not listening to the people? Or are they going up there just to go along to get along and be part of the good old boy club?
What about the other candidates as far as you trying to get your name out there to those who may not know Amy Kremer? You had debates this past weekend, not invited. What will you do to battle that? You're talking about establishment. Obviously, people get worried when there's a candidate like you out there who's going to call it as it is. We saw this just happen with our president who won that way. What about that, Amy? How do you get involved in these? They're looking at what percentages in certain polls?
So I will go to every event that I'm invited to. I am out in the district every day, all day. Those are 3 GOP debates. There have been 2, and I was not invited to either of them. I don't know about the third one, but that's okay because I know they're corrupt, and I can tell you what happened. But there are other debates There's going to be one at the Atlanta Press Club on Wednesday night. There's going to be a really interesting, the one on Wednesday night, there's, I think, all the candidates in it, but Emory University is hosting one with the top 5 candidates, I think on April 13th. And those top 5 candidates were from a Trafalgar poll, I think 2 weeks ago. And so I'll be in that one. And I think that one, coming up on Election Day, April 18th, I think a lot of people will be paying attention, and I have an opportunity there. But listen, Kevin, you know what? We were always against money. I mean, I remember when Ted Cruz was running in Texas and David Dewhurst had all the name recognition and all the money, and that's what I'm battling right now. And we did it grassroots way. I mean, that's how we do it. It's not going to be one on the TV or on the radio. It's knocking on doors and going to events and meeting people and asking for their vote.
You know, like yourself, I was for the president before he was the president from day one, but the same thing here. We like to be our own person, and I think Governor Palin the same way. We saw her, endorse the Paul Nealon, who ran against Paul Ryan in the primary. We saw her talk about crony capitalism early on in the Trump administration. Yep. We saw her pan this health bill. So, Governor Palin, I think, is someone who you supported very much so in the past and have been at many events with before. Same kind of deal here. And I think it's refreshing to people when someone will actually try to run and get into the races here and get into the fray and speak with honesty and integrity. Even when you don't agree with someone on a certain thing, the fact that you're getting a fair shake. So I think that's appreciated from you.
Well, no, I mean, I agree with you. And listen, I have told everybody at every event, I say, I'm not milquetoast. I'm not wishy-washy according to which way the political winds are blowing. You will know where I stand at all times. My positions have not changed from when I got involved in politics 9 years ago to where I am today. And you will always know where I stand. You may not agree with me, but I'm going to be honest with you. And what I will say is that I know Washington is a swamp. I never realized how bad it was until I started going there and doing the work there that I've done.
Yeah.
But, Kevin, you know what? Let me tell you, what's going on here on a state and county level, a district level, is way worse than I could have ever imagined.
Wow.
And Georgia is one of the most corrupt states. According to a recent survey. I can't remember the name of the survey, but let me tell you that it is good old boy politics. And we have never elected a woman to federal office. Georgia, the Republicans in Georgia, the Dems have, but Republicans have never elected a woman to federal office or gubernatorial. So, and I think it's time we have a woman in there.
Well, it turns good people away. I mean, when they see that it seems to be a foregone conclusion in a lot of these districts, and whether it's like you said, the local level, the state level, all the way up, and to see someone like yourself still sticking your neck out there, I think just like Donald Trump and others, it gives people hope. You mentioned Dave Bratt, someone who was able to beat an Eric Cantor. It can happen if things go the right way, and but you can understand why others are turned off because I mean they're on your case for every little thing. Meantime, when you're a lib, you're given free rein, or an establishment, same thing. Amy, we appreciate it. We like that your signs are pink. It's nice to see instead of pink hats, we get to actually like pink again. And
I love pink, so I'm not going to let the left co-opt that color.
That's what my daughter said. She goes, Dad, why do they have to wear? It's my color. I said, don't worry. It's just they'll forget about them soon enough.
Right.
And now this being a special election, I mean, this is coming up, right? The 18th.
April 18th, and you have to get 50 plus 1. It's a jungle primary, so everybody's on the same ballot. If no one gets over 50%, then we'll go to a runoff on June 20th, and so it could be 2 Republicans or a Republican and a Dem. We'll just have to see, but I don't think that the Dems are going to take this seat, but let me tell you, as of Wednesday, I think they've poured $5 million into it already, and the number of staffers, I don't even know. It's insane.
I believe,
Yeah,
they'll do anything. Now, so if it is not over that threshold, then kind of like Louisiana, then you go the top 2 no matter what party in a runoff.
That's exactly it.
All right.
Fun times, Kevin.
Hey, listen, we're glad you're there. We know you're going to give it your all. And listen, like I said, you want an honest answer, you're going to get it from someone like Amy Kremer. Best to you, Amy. We'll talk to you as this moves forward. You. And Maggie May doing well, I hope.
Yes, she is. Thank you. She's quiet now, thankfully.
I watched a multi-poo today, so thought of you again on that. Yes.
Nothing like the love of a dog.
Great, Amy. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Okay, bye-bye.
For more on Amy Kremer's run for Congress, visit amykremerforcongress.com. That's Amy, A-M-Y, Kremer, K-R-E-M-E-R-F-O-R, Congress. Now it's time for Sarah Palin News, headlines and more about Governor Palin. Governor Palin calls out a gross so-called comedian for his continued attacks on Ivanka Trump. Not always in agreement with Arnold, but Palin applauds Schwarzenegger on this one. Palin rebukes Governor Moonbeam on the border wall. Sarah Palin says the Freedom Caucus members who opposed the Trump movement in 2016 were dead wrong to do so, but they learned, and the Freedom Caucus just saved us from Obamacare 2.0. Now Palin tells the GOP to get it together, saying we didn't spill our blood, sweat, and tears building tracks for the Trump train to lead to a land of disarray and Democrat empowerment. Drink your milk, no matter what PETA says. And Governor Palin features my new piece on same-sex locker rooms at a school. Thank you, Governor, for highlighting my article. I hope everyone checks it out and learns about the fight that Carla DeDesi and the Berks Republican women are up against. To read about all of these stories, visit the Mama Grizzly Radio Facebook page. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety and to read her devotionals, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. Follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA. And don't miss the new sarahpalin.com. Now let's head to the crow's nest. Here's Tanya Crow.
Thanks, Kevin. So I heard a Democratic strategist speaking to a journalist saying he walked into a DNC committee meeting one afternoon and said, "Have you guys noticed who's president? This guy's not only stolen our narrative, but our talking points." And I was fascinated because I thought to myself, your narrative, or what you call your own narrative, which is about the working class, about caring about the poor, that was stolen from us decades ago by you. The irony is that you guys don't have the policies or the intent to back it up. So now the jig is up. We're just stealing it back because it's ours to begin with. All that the left really cares about is power and getting their own. In my opinion, most of the time, they're always on the wrong side of the issues. And to hear this man rewrite history in such a way made me think about the concept of double standard. A rule or principle that is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups. A double standard may take the form of an instance in which certain concepts, often, for example, a word, phrase, social norm, or rule, are perceived as acceptable to be applied by one group of people, but are considered unacceptable, taboo, when applied by another group. I don't think that there's any group of people that apply double standard as frequently as the left. And I have to say that that is one of the most frustrating, divisive, hurtful mechanisms in any type of relationship, personal, within a society. Its destructive quality is immeasurable. And we're seeing it now in our society. A society which began as an experiment of what limited government and the effects of limited government could have on a people and their ability to govern their own lives. It's a remarkable experiment. The quality of life that the most impoverished live in this country is how kings and queens at one point in history used to live, and that our society is such that a supermarket is taken for granted. But this is a remarkable example of a thriving society. I just find it so easy to overlook what this experiment that we call America, or the United States of America, is, and the possible destruction of that internally is devastating. And I'm just so happy to be, in my opinion, on the right side of these issues and fighting day in and day out to preserve this historical experiment that we call the USA. God bless America. Till next week, this is Tanya Crow with Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tanya Crow on Mama Grizzly Radio. More from the Crow's Nest next week. Now, on target with Kelly Carlson.
Thanks, Kevin. So I want to discuss Appendix Carry. I'm here with my amazing husband, Tracker Dan, our very good friend Mark, and our good friend Ed, whom you've met before. I brought them in because Dan and Mark make concealed carry holsters, and Ed was a law enforcement professional who had to carry Appendix Carry. So I thought, who better? I've noticed you guys talk in the past few days that there has been this like heated debate over Appendix Carry. And there's the pro people. Online. Sorry, thank you. Online. I mean, and it gets like volatile. And I don't quite understand it because I know my position on it. But you guys are the actual professionals. So can we flush it out a little bit? And can someone give me a pro? Like what, Ed, why did you guys have to carry appendix?
Concealment.
Okay, it's
So,
better concealment.
Hot weather concealment where we couldn't wear a lot of garments over the concealed handgun. So
And you can't do that anywhere else? You're saying that that's the best place for concealment?
the size of the guns we were running, a Glock 19, a Glock 17,
Okay.
and the placement where the considerations of as far as training, because there was a uniformity they wanted to impose on us. So the best spot that the powers that be found was concealing appendix. And
So that wasn't your choice.
no, it wasn't, not really.
And I'm going to come back to that
Sure.
in a second. Dan, Mark, what are the other pros that you find that people are saying or talking about?
Well, some people think it's faster because it's in front of you, and you know the fastest Western shooter on an exposed holster is appendix, but he's also got a bullet deflector so he doesn't shoot himself in the femoral. My big thing with holsters is most of them don't keep the handle tucked against your body, and so back in 2009 I came up with a design that would tuck the handle back so I could wear it 3 o'clock with a t-shirt and still have good retention with my elbow and that sort of thing, just because I never want to violate safety firearm rule number 2, which is never point your muzzle at anything you do not want to kill or destroy.
And what's in front of the muzzle with appendix carry?
With appendix carry, you've got your femorals, you've got the muscles of your thighs, you've got your sexual organs, which most men would not want to live without, so it'd be a good idea not to endanger them, but to each his own.
Mark? And I'm just saying objectively, like, what are people saying out there that they're defending appendix carry?
It seems to me that the biggest,
You said magazines are
Yeah,
really
the-
pushing it, like a trend.
different magazines promote it heavily, and obviously that could be sponsor driven, instructor driven, but it's, you know, it can get you into some liabilities where people can block your draw. If you're grappling, you know, your body naturally crouches a little bit.
So you're saying a real life situation now.
Real life situation, not on a
Not-
square range.
Right.
You know, and let's not forget that most gun ranges don't allow you to draw from the holster.
Such a good point.
So
Huge.
you can't practice with live rounds.
And touching on Mark's point about magazines, you know, having articles and stuff, in the marketing world, to, you know, make a good profit, you need to stand out from the crowd, and come out with the newest and latest, or sexiest, whatever, that makes you stand out from the crowd, so people are going to buy your stuff. And so that tends to add complexities and bells and whistles that only inhibit, the simplicity needed for real life scenarios.
So let's go to the negatives.
Yes.
Now tell me how you really feel. And Ed, I have a question for you. Since you had to carry appendix through your career, did you have concerns about it?
Yes, I mean, like the way we were trained to carry appendix and to draw from appendix, we got some time on the range with appendix. We would have to put our leg back.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And do
Body
put our body mechanics in a way so it clears everything and you can put it back in. The problem is that type of body movement and geometry is rarely seen when you're actually being shot at. You get a lot of crouching. You diminish your silhouette, and again, this is not technique. This is just survival instinct.
Yeah, right. That's right.
You get a lot of situations where you have to duck down behind something, or run or jump over something, and
Now you've trapped your gun by closing your hip angle.
body types are vary differently. So we have some people that have a bit of a muffin top in the world, which is a thing.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I'm just don't stab me, please. You get a lot of people that have different body types, and some of those inhibit them.
That would point the gun.
That would point the gun
more.
even more towards you. And it worked. It worked for me as a comfort thing. It was comfortable to carry it like that in a lot of situations. But I could see that other people were made to carry like that, but their body wasn't made to carry like that.
But then they were forced to.
But yeah, there was a situation where everybody had to carry in the same fashion. Everybody had to carry the same caliber gun and things like that, which is common in law enforcement.
Well, and you mentioned too that you had coworkers who suffered wounds and became liabilities due to carrying that way.
Yeah, so drawing a gun and shooting is in an actual situation will never be the same. I mean, you could do that from inside of a car. It could happen in a crowd. It could happen on the ground. It could happen with two people wrapped around you. So there was a lot of variables. Mm-hmm. But actually, most of the accidental or negligent discharges that I saw were putting the gun back into the holster, not actually taking it out. So a lot of situations that call for shooting somebody or shooting in an event create a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. Being hit in the hands or in the back of the hands creates a few issues with your hands. Actually being shot, and it's a very kind of you don't even think about it sometimes, and you have things in your hand and you don't let go of the things in your hand. Mm-hmm. So a few times we've had some of our guys actually go to reholster the gun and just shoot from inside before they put the gun inside the holster. Just shoot themselves in the leg, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a very common thing, but it's a thing that happened a few times, and it was really related to the stress levels and if the gun was placed in any other place, they might have missed a few important things.
Well, and an American misconception out there is that, you don't have to put your gun away fast. You've dealt with everything. There's no reason to put it away fast. But that's not real life.
It's the misconception is, well, at least the kind of situations I faced, there was more than one person there. Mm-hmm. You would have to shoot and move, and sometimes if you had to move, you actually had to move somebody with you. Not just yourself, and you would have to put the gun away because you had to do self first aid, or you had to put a tourniquet on somebody else.
If you got to climb, carry a buddy, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, try and crawl under a car, which is a thing. If you've never crawled under a car, I highly recommend you try and do that with any sort of gear, so you can learn what that is. There's a lot of situations that really push the things you think are set in stone, and just so being able to calmly put the gun back into a holster and do something else is not a reality sometimes.
Yeah.
And that led to a lot of negligent discharges and
Unnecessary injuries.
knees, feet. In one case, it was just a grazing shot, but it went through a very important part of a car.
A very important part of a what?
A very important part of an armored vehicle, and like one of those luxury armored sedans.
It found the one spot that wasn't.
It found a very good
up-armored?
spot. Well, it was one of the fuse box things on the inside of the panel, and it put down a $100,000 or $150,000 machine with armor on it, meant to move somebody very important.
Right.
Which is, I mean, you can replace that.
Sure, exactly.
But in the moment, I mean, that's
yeah.
a liability.
And let's keep in mind that, you know, what he's talking about with these reholstering incidents are trained professionals.
Totally. That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
Yep.
I read about a guy who accidentally shot himself reholstering because I hadn't considered that, you know, as I was listening to you guys the other night discuss this. Because I want you guys to tell me about this whole, like, trolling thing that takes place online, too.
Well,
About on this topic. I don't know if that's the right term. Is that the right term? Where
I mean, there are like any specific thing that involves investment, economic investment, time investment, as far as training. People have invested thousands and thousands of dollars on training or gear,
yeah.
and follow or respect people that
Or worship.
don't want to go there.
Yep.
And I mean, I know people that carry appendix every day.
Yeah.
Very good shooters, but they have a very specific need.
Yeah.
Specifically law enforcement, like
Yeah.
or some guys that work close protection in some gnarly places where actually concealing the pistol is something very important. I mean, there are options out there, but people like me that spent a lot of time doing it and don't know how to do anything else specifically as far as carry in such an efficient manner or such a well-trained manner. So people that invest that much amount of time carrying like that, training like that, and investing in gear are hard pressed to change all of a sudden, considering a lot of stuff like the safety issue or just the training issue that a lot of people can actually replicate an actual environment of shooting and reholstering your gun out there.
So, on your team or on one of my teams, if someone shoots themselves or one of their buddies, how many guys does that take out of the fight?
It's three, at least three. The guy
Exactly.
down, the guy that's taking care of the issue, and the guy covering them.
So that's a huge liability to mission success.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And how many people died last year in the States from appendix carry?
I saw numbers of deaths. I saw numbers of injuries. Like
Okay.
So I think it was somewhere along the lines of 10 people
Yeah.
that got injured in holster related issues
Yeah.
carrying appendix. And I mean we can square those numbers.
Yeah.
But there are considerations there.
Yeah.
well, the people that are pro appendix, like, you know, very emotionally support it, say that there are no hazards.
Yeah.
There are no
Well,
hazards.
and I would, so when somebody's taught something, whether they're raised in a certain religion or taught something at school, whatever, there's this law, a human nature law of primacy, that they will defend what they've been taught to the death sometimes, because if they can convince other people that it's true, then it justifies them believing in it. So you see that in any kind of whether it's martial arts training, gun training, it becomes a very religious type, cult type thing where people just don't have an open mind and they can't articulate why they're doing something
yeah.
and be open to the fact that maybe they should change it.
Well, it goes back to the whole emulation thing that is out there as well. People see something and they want to emulate it, right?
Well,
So they see...
You bring up a good point. There's a specific, very well-known instructor in this industry who endorses appendix carry but refuses and will not allow it in his class if he trains you because of the liability.
Yeah. Well,
That is.
yeah, I mean that is very telling, and it's not just him. There's
Oh, I know there's more.
There's more people that do that, and I get what.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want my student carrying it either, except for he publicly endorses appendix carry. So my point is, for people who just go out and to shoot at the range, and they're gun enthusiasts, and maybe they have it for home defense, like really sit and look at the logic with this, because it seems like appendix carry would only be appropriate for a sterile square environment. But if you have a gun for home defense, you need to consider other options. That's what I conclude.
Yeah, and
how do you guys feel?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks you guys for being here and helping us flush it out. This is Kelly Carlson with Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tune in for more On Target next week.
Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
Have you found yourself getting more and more news from the internet? Places like Breitbart, Conservative Review, who has one of my favorite new commenters, by the way. Her name is Jen Kuznicki. She's awesome. You got to check her out. Mama Grizzly Radio, of course, CRTV, Prager University, and all of our friends that we listen to on talk radio. We're now in the quickest news cycle in history, with news changing on a dime. No longer a 24-hour news cycle. I mean, your story could be hot at 8 o'clock in the morning. By noon, something else is breaking. The biggest caution here, though, is to trust but verify. Verify everything these days. Do we really believe that Russia hacked the election? I don't think so. What I do think is that it's the biggest pile of dog poop that I've ever seen the mainstream media put out there. The media didn't just die in 2016. They committed Carry by killing their credibility with fake news and outright lies against conservative or GOP candidates. Instead of the media being the watchdog for the people, they've turned into the watchdog for politicians. In 2016, the media was all about publicizing Hillary and protecting Obama's legacy. And boy, did the big, giant shoe drop on them on November 8th, right? Wasn't that awesome? No one expected Trump to win, and they did every single thing they could do within their power to set up a victory for Hillary. It's awesome. There is one thing that I've come to detest, and that's lying. Lying media and lying and dishonest politicians. I got to get my Bible on right now, because lying is a very serious offense to God. In fact, he calls it an abomination. Read Proverbs 6:16 through 19, where he hates. It lists 6 things that the Lord hates: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginings, and feet that are swift to run to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies, and he that sows discord among his brothers. With morality in the trash can, our society has been deteriorating, and you and I are standing there going, how is this happening? But the liberals love it. They are purposefully causing this destruction of the mainstream civil society, because when they create chaos, they thrive. Anarchists love chaos because then it helps them accomplish what they want, and that is to fundamentally transform our nation. They do. They are doing anything that flies in the face of what a normal civil American society was founded upon. And lying is a major part of that. Obama lied every time he got on television during his entire administration. There wasn't an honest word out of his mouth, except for when he said he was going to fundamentally transform this nation. Look at Hillary. Boy, she should be so thankful that I'm not God, because I had a few lightning bolts that I would have sent in her direction. Politics is rampant with lies, deceit, betrayal, and the business world isn't much better today. Theft, corruption, broken promises, broken contracts, and downright dishonest dealings with one another. And that's just the Democrat Party. I'm sorry, I digress. I want to shift back to the GOP for a second, because Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell have been talking for years to their constituents in the country that the first chance they have to repeal Obamacare, they will. They've had over 40 floor votes in the last 8 years to repeal Obamacare. Now they've got a GOP president who's ready to go, ready to sign a bill, and they've got nothing. Zip, zero, nada. What a bunch of lying, dishonest, and gutless cowards. How in the world we the people elect those morons is completely beyond me. But the Bible is really filled with admonition about being dishonest and lying, including one of the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Hello, Exodus 20:16. Everything that you and I are trying to do to fix our federal government. In fact, fix all levels of the government, from the towns we live in to our state government to the federal government. The first step begins with you and me. And I'm not saying this because I think we're perfect. Although, no, I'm just kidding. I'm the first to say that I'm human and I fail every day. But thankfully, through grace, I get a second chance. What I expect and what I don't believe is unreasonable to expect is that those we elect should be held to a higher standard. Absolutely. Not because we believe they're perfect, but because they are servant leaders. That's the difference. Not selfish intent. Servant leaders. And we have some of those. Just look at Representative Devin Nunes, who has come under tremendous political fire from the Democrats and the media. And the whole time he's doing his job to learn more about the fact the Obama administration was spying on the Trump transition team and even more Americans. So he's getting to the bottom of it. What is important is that the first step begins with you and me, right? It does. If I don't want lying politicians representing me, then I better get myself right so that I can be an example. And then, secondarily, I get to not vote for men or women who behave in such a scurrilous manner. So what do we do about journalists who manufacture news and elevate fake stories? I think we should treat them the same way. Refuse to watch, listen, and share it with everyone we know. Trust me, your pocketbook speaks way louder than your vote ever will. We are all flawed and fall short of God's glory, but today is the best day to start living that life that we expect our elected officials to live. A positive attitude sets both expectations and an example for them. I want a nation I can be proud of, that others aspire to, and that continues to keep America as the shining city on a hill. I am so proud to get to work with incredible men and women every day with the Convention of States Project. These men and women aspire for higher values, service above self, and making America great again because our founding principles have been restored. We cannot put our faith in men. We are, after all, a nation of laws, so that all men and women have a free chance to be the best that they can be. Tweet me this week at Tamara Colbert, hashtag Mama Grizz Radio. Say a prayer that my voice gets better. I always love that and need it. Have a blessed week. Get your smile on and remember that attitude of gratitude goes a long way. I'm Tamara Colbert for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy, On Target, and The Crow's Nest, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, at Tanya Yoga 13, and at FBR ABQ. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I'm also contributing to SarahPalin.com. Please check out my latest piece this week. Honored to be working on the governor's new site. I want to thank Tamara Colbert, Tanya Crow, Kelly Carlson, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Amy Kremer, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Full Battle Rattle. Visit Facebook.com/Full Battle Rattle ABQ. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Laurie Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.